This is Dating Badly with Kristen Strange and Taylor Bell.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Dating Badly. I'm Kristen Strange.
And I'm Taylor Bell.
And today we're talking about dating in the workplace, which I have a lot of feelings about. What about you?
You know, I don't have a lot of feelings, but I have been around people who have been in office relationships, and so maybe I actually do have a lot of feelings. Maybe I just don't know that yet because I haven't been in an
This
office
is going to be like a therapy session for you, bringing out your feelings about other office relationships.
Yes, and I could help you through if you have a current office relationship.
I have been in an office relationship, and it didn't turn out great, so
okay, I'm curious now.
Definitely have a lot to say about that. But I just wanted to start out with like why it happens, because it seems like such a bad idea to me when I think about it, to date someone at the office. But if you think about it, it's someone that you see all the time, that you know, that you're like working in the same field as. You probably have so much in common with them.
Right.
So it's like, why would it not happen?
Yeah, I mean, they're just basically someone who's in your life regularly.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone you just met and it takes more time to get to know. They're just really like accessible to you.
Oh, yeah.
In a different way than people who don't work with you
and sometimes I feel like being around someone a lot is a great way to like even fall for them more versus
absolutely,
like, someone that you just like go on one date with, you're like, done, I'm not interested.
Right.
But like if you're around them for like 2 months before, you're like, oh yeah, that was kind of cute that they did that, or like I liked when they wore that shirt. You see little things and it like happens slower, but...
And there's opportunities to get to know somebody. You may not like them right away, but the fact that you might go to like a coffee or a lunch, or you might find yourself sitting next to them somehow.
After work happy hour. Yeah, you both have a few too many drinks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get to know someone at work and start to like them. And also, your office can be very huge, and so it's not like, you have to, talk to someone who is close to you. So if you're like worried about maybe, I don't know, like, not pursuing an office relationship, you can even if they work in a different department. Like,
I feel like that's better.
Yeah.
It
makes it like they actually don't work with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just, for all the reasons you said, they happen.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
I think it's just ease.
Exactly.
And it's like, instead of having to go other routes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of good in them, too. Like, you see this person, you get to know them slowly. Mm-hmm. It's not like, 3 dates or just talking on Bumble, and then you go on a first date, and it has to all be there. It's like, you get to know them super slow. Yeah. There's more of, like, it's more fun, like,
I think it's also organic, because I think you're not focused on dating the person, and so you're just focused on kind of who they are.
Yeah.
A concept, focusing on the person and who they are instead of outward things. That is a concept. But no, seriously though, like I think that's what it feeds. This office environment, I think, feeds an organic way of knowing someone. You really get to nurture.
And I feel like there's somewhat of a comfort in, like, it's even better than just if you're at a bar and you meet some guy there, because you know the same people. Someone at the office is bound to be close with them, probably. That, like, they were probably background checked for the job. Like, there's certain...
You really care about that.
I care about the background check. But I will tell you, there are certain things that a background check doesn't tell you, and those are important.
You see, I'm way more lax. You're talking to a girl who went on Bumble, and, like, it's just like, yeah, let's just hang out after 2 texts, which is like, hey, how are you? Like, to get a coffee, But you carry pepper spray, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, the background check is important because you want to know that they're not, like, a serial killer, because, like, what if you go out with someone that you met at a bar and they are like a convicted felon? You wouldn't know, right?
Right.
But you know when you meet them at work.
That's true. I hope that my character judgment would lead me not astray, that I would not be...
Well, maybe they were convicted for like a minor drug offense.
Maybe, possibly.
You never know. But it's also good just because it takes the pressure off of, just knowing that you can get to know them in a more casual environment, like office parties or something. You don't even have to go on a date, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you get to know them.
Yeah, it's actually...
At the Christmas party or at after work happy hour, you know, something more casual than, like, we're on a date, because for some people that's really intimidating.
Yeah, I think it's a great excuse to talk to someone that you find attractive or that you're interested in.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's why it's good, for sure, because... if you find someone attractive at the office and you're thinking about getting to know them, like you said, it can be very intimidating to, like, meet this person outside of the office.
Yeah.
You know, but now you have an excuse to actually go up and talk to them, and it won't be pegged as, oh my gosh, like, this person is so into me. Like you said, it's not that pressure, or there's no sort of, like...
It's just, like, friendliness.
You know, yeah. But I'll be but that can be mistaken.
Yes.
That can be mistaken for... like a flirtation, you know, because I've had that happen to me. That's
where it gets difficult, though, and that's, like, kind of what brings in the bad, is, like, there is so much more pressure in the sense of new office harassment policies and, like, rules about dating coworkers and everything like that can really get in the way of, like, if the guy comes on to you, I feel like even especially guys now in this day and age, like, have to be more careful about how they come on to someone,
oh my gosh,
who they come on to, how they go about it, because it's like, you can't just be drunk at an office party and go up to a girl, because they're going to be like, harassment, and it's fair. Like, you can't just, like, harass people at work.
Right.
But, so you have to go about it in a more, I feel like, specific, intentional way.
Yeah.
But, like, also... Like, you have to feel someone out a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to be strategic and wise about it. Yeah, I think it's not just something you can go willy-nilly about. You have to be very careful, because there's the stakes are actually high in an office relationship, because there's so many companies and work policies that do not allow for office relationships to happen, or if they do, they must tell HR for reasons.
Sign
Yeah, they
forms.
have to do that, so that we eliminate all the potential favoritism or potential like I wouldn't say discrimination, but there's some
if you're dating someone that's a superior and you get promoted, like
absolutely. There's people,
and it's talk. Also, you know, if you keep it a secret, I feel like that also causes a problem. And that was kind of the case in my situation. It's like it was a secret, and I feel like that almost caused more problems than anything else, because it's like, anytime you have to be secretive about a relationship, it's not going to end well, because it's like, it feels bad for the person that doesn't have a lot to lose, you know? Yeah. And I think in my situation, I was the person that didn't have a lot to lose, so it was like, keeping it a secret was not really something that I cared about, but, like, obviously I know why it was, but...
Well, why was it a secret?
Because... he was my boss.
Oh, okay. So you were dating your boss.
Yeah, it didn't turn out great. So, there's that.
Okay.
But it's also like, I mean, there was a lot of, in that specific situation, there was a lot more complexities surrounding it that made it more complex than just, like, dating your boss. But, yeah, it was not something that I would ever do again.
So you would never date a coworker again?
Honestly.
Or your boss?
You know, 100% would never date my boss again. I would probably never date a coworker again, just because I like to live by the rule of, like, don't shit where you eat.
Okay.
Yeah, like, that's, like, my new rule, just because I feel like it did get complicated, and, like, we can get into this a little bit later, but, like, it did, you know, I dealt with more than just, like, the secretism. It was, like, I thought that I was so good at keeping a secret, but I was not. Apparently, we were not good at keeping a secret. And it was also, like, other people started to find out, and then I was the one that took the brunt of the harassment from other people.
You know what's funny is that I just read in an article that someone said, it's not if your coworkers find out, it's when they find out. So it's not a matter of people, like, actually, like, the author was implying that it's, people are going to find out.
Yeah.
You are not going to keep this from anyone. Yeah. Like, someone is going to sniff it out
and
somehow.
I feel like most people didn't care, for the most part. Like, most of the coworkers either didn't catch on, weren't paying attention enough to care, or just didn't care at all. They were just like, whatever. But there was a couple people that definitely one lady in specific that was really, I don't ever use this word, but it just feels like the right word to use at the time, salty, about the fact that we were dating.
Okay.
It just still feels like the right adjective.
Okay.
She was just, like, very upset about it, to the point where she, like, stalked us during lunch and, like, found us. We had, like, gone somewhere to talk, and, like, she, like, stalked us and found us in his car.
And how did you know that she was stalking you?
Because she came and knocked on the freaking window. And then she spread a rumor that, because we saw her poke her head around, because I was eating lunch. We were eating lunch in there talking.
Yeah.
Which sounds so bad when I say it out loud, because obviously that was never going to go anywhere great. But she, like, knocked on the window, and or I was, like, hiding, and, like, because I saw her peek her head out, and she, like, came and knocked on the window, and then she told everyone that I was giving him a blowjob in the car.
How did you find out that was an actual thing?
I didn't find out that she had gone right back into the office and yelled that into the entire office until after I left the company. I guess he knew. I had no idea. I thought that she didn't tell anyone. But honestly, I didn't care.
Wow. That's it going bad. Like,
yeah.
That's when...
And that's, like, an extreme level of a harassment from a crazy person. But also, like, I mean, like I said, though, there was more complexities to that relationship than just him being my boss. So I know that there was definitely, like, layers there. But, yeah, she was a little bit crazy. And, like, that's the kind of thing that can happen when you date at work. Is, like, people catch on. And, like, I have no idea what her situation was or why it upset her so much that this was happening. But I think, you know, you always run that risk when you date somebody at the office of, like, someone finding out. And, like, luckily it was not a job that I cared about. So it wasn't a job that I was like, oh, I'm really trying to get promoted here. It was just a job for me. And it was his career. So it was like, I had no problem leaving when I found something else that I wanted to do. But it's just one of those side effects that can happen when...
You know, so the question becomes, well, then how do you engage in an office relationship? And one thing I remember is, well, basically there was this survey from Career Builder, and it said that, you know, one thing you have to do if you're going to even think about pursuing an office relationship, or not even that you're pursuing it, but that you just think, oh, this person is great, I want to, like, hang out with them in a more romantic way. First, you got to just know the company policy about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you need to do your homework, figure that out first, because maybe there is some sort of leeway in what you can and can't do, but you really need to know that first.
For sure.
And so do your research on that, because you might be surprised. And then they recommended in the survey to kind of, like, keep your personal life out of the office as much as possible. And I know that I've never been in an office relationship, but I do know at a company that I work at, there were two people. I had no idea that they were dating, and they actually kept it really, really under wraps. And they did a good job of keeping their personal life out of. And
I think that that's important.
Yeah, because I didn't know, but people caught on. And you know why people caught on, though? It's funny because, so it's kind of interesting. So the guy, we'll call him Jason. Okay, we're going to say Jason. And the girl we're going to call Jennifer. Okay, so it's Jason and Jennifer. Okay, so my coworker had a crush actually on Jason, and her boss was actually Jennifer. Right?
Oh, okay.
So anyway, she was like, so my coworker was talking to Jennifer and was like, hey, you know, is Jason single and stuff? And she sort of just shut it down. Like, Jennifer just sort of shut it down. And then she would always hang out. Jennifer would always hang out with Jason. And then my coworker was like, they don't really even, like, why are they always together? Like, I don't understand. I understand they sort of work together, but, like, a lot of their departments don't really have this huge crossover, so I don't understand that. Yeah, and so she actually just flat out asked Jennifer. She said, hey, Jennifer, you're dating Jason. I know it. And she goes, what? And she goes, you know what? Actually, yeah. So, anyway, but the point is, even though someone found out about it, they did a good job from hiding it from everybody else.
Yeah.
That
and if it's that kind of thing where people don't catch on, or like it was only one person, then I feel like they did a pretty good job.
Oh, for sure. I had no idea.
But I feel like that also, I wonder how hard that was on their relationship to be keeping it such a secret. You know, you're around this person, especially when the relationship's new, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You're so excited to be dating this person, and like you're excited to be around them, but you have to keep it so under wraps. It's almost like you're a different person at work than at
And then
after
also
work.
what's another thing too is because people are nosy little birds, and they like to find out everything about their coworkers, especially if it's like a manager and it's like a different, like people in the office, they like those kind of dirt, and so they'll look and stalk you, or they'll go on if you guys are Instagram friends or something like that, they're going to go on your Instagram, they're going to go and look at your Instagram, or they're going to see if you're in any tagged photos of somebody or something like that. And so I'm guilty of I had a hunch, and so I went to her Instagram and his Instagram and clear, like nothing.
Oh yeah, I never posted any pictures of this guy when I dated him. Never, not once would I have posted a picture of him.
Yeah. Because
I knew I would be in trouble. Because, I mean, that's like, and that kind of goes into more of it being a toxic relationship also. Yeah. But, like, I knew if I said something, or if I did something like post an Instagram picture, then like, there was so much at risk. And I think that's what makes them hard. And I think that they can work out. I definitely know people that have, married someone that they met at the office.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, in fact, like, again, about there's another survey or study that I remember finding out. It's by, actually, the New York Daily News cited it. And they said, and this is actually pretty recent, it's I forget it's what year, but I know it's pretty recent. They said 22% of married couples have like met at work, and that group that they had surveyed, and there was a great deal that met online, which is totally common, which we all know because of what we are living in today. But 22% of married couples met at work, and I actually, to be honest, if I worked at a really big company, I don't see a problem with meeting somebody at work. If I worked
especially at different departments.
Yeah, if I worked at Spotify, if I worked at ABC, there's tons of people who
company that has hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yes,
I think when it becomes a problem is like at companies like yours and mine, where there is, my company, when I was dating somebody at the office, our office was 20 people tops. Yeah, so like that's a little bit more you're gonna catch on quickly. Your company is also not super big, right? So how many people?
Well, now it's grown. It depends.
How many people are in your office?
In the office, like I would say like
150, 75, 80.
I would say around like 110.
Yeah, so I mean that's still not that big,
Right.
For the most part, the people, especially like the couple you're referring to is probably in the similar departments like you mentioned.
Definitely.
So they are in the same area working with the same group of people. It's easier to catch on. But like if I date a guy that's an engineer at my company, I don't think that anybody would know.
Now, when we talk about office relationships, do we talk about people who, because I had two coworkers who were dating prior to working at the same company, and then
I feel like that's a little bit different because you know what you're getting into. You're like, hey, I want to get my boyfriend an interview, or like, hey, I want to get my girlfriend an interview. You know what you're getting into, but I also think that almost makes it harder for someone to be hired. I would think, because you don't want to hire somebody that one of your employees is dating, because what if their relationship goes bad, then you have two exes working in the office together.
Well, that's the thing, is that like with these office relationships is that they can turn sour, and that's another problem of investing in an office relationship if you work closely together. Right. And I know I've been like the statty person that's bringing up all these different things, but
you're a numbers gal.
For today, I know. I love kind of like looking at these kind of things. It's very fascinating, to be honest. But the career builder study that I was talking about earlier, it was saying that 6% of workers left a job because a romance turned sour.
I did.
You left the job because specifically this person?
Well, because so I left the job because it turned sour, not in between me and the guy at that point, but because it had turned sour between, like, the harassment around what was happening.
Interesting.
So, like, I didn't feel like it was smart for me to say because people were catching on. Like, I felt like I had somewhat of a reputation as, like, like I said, there's more around it. One of the things being that he was 8 years older than me. Me being 22, that was, like, a big age difference, 22 to 30. So there was a little bit more going on there, and I felt like I had kind of gotten a little bit of a reputation. And I just didn't want to stay there. It was not a place where I ever imagined myself building a career anyways. Yeah. But it was just one of those things where I was like, I need to get out of here sooner and, like, ASAP, because I'm now getting harassed. It's, like, uncomfortable for me to go to work. And the girl that actually was the one doing the harassing of me after she found out that I was dating this guy, she complained to our, like, office manager / HR department that she felt uncomfortable because we were dating. And it's crazy because a couple weeks ago I had a anti-harassment seminar at my current company, and that's something that you can do. I mean, at least in California, if you feel uncomfortable because your coworkers are dating, you can report it, because if they make you feel uncomfortable, that's harassment.
Wait, I don't understand. So you can, if your coworkers are dating, I can go to a harassment.
You can go to HR and say, I feel uncomfortable
that they're dating.
Like, their relationship is making me feel uncomfortable. I don't know the intricacies of what she would have to say after that, but that's something that HR would then have to investigate. And that's so crazy to me. Like, I'm happy that California has passed all these anti-harassment laws, because obviously I don't want to live in a time where, like, my boss can harass me and it's like, you know, come on to me and I'm like, no, and he keeps coming on. I don't want to have to live in that time. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I'm doing everything that I can to keep my relationship under wraps. You're being nosy, but then I'm making you uncomfortable with my relationship. Like, that's that's crazy.
There's got to be some sort of conditions there.
And I mean, it just means that HR has to investigate it. And I'm sure if HR had investigated it at that time, which we didn't have an HR department really, so they couldn't investigate it. But, like, I'm sure if they had, then they would have been like, they're not doing anything. It's not like we ever, like, even did anything remotely.
Right. She probably was bothered for other reasons. I'm not sure as to why, but, like, you know, I don't know. It's such a tricky thing to navigate, and I mean, it's not that it's not worth it. I think it's totally worth it if you can find the person you're meant to be with.
Yeah, I think that it is. I think that it would have been. I don't look back on that and be like, oh, that was totally worth it. Like, I look back on it and I'm like, I should have never started that in the first place. But I mean, I was young and dumb. But I mean, if it had turned out that this was someone that I, you know, felt like I was meant to be with, or had been like a positive relationship in my life, I feel like it probably would have been worth it. You know, but that was not the case.
I mean, so you would not. So you would not do it again. Like, would you date another? I mean, I know we kind of touched upon that in the beginning, but, like, are you ruling out dating a coworker?
I don't want to say never, because that wouldn't be fair, but I don't really see that happening for me, just because, I don't know, I just started a new job a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that the girl said to me was, like, when a new girl starts here, like, it's like, you know, something new and shiny, all the guys are excited about it. And I will say that there are a lot of single, attractive men there that I am very attracted to. But at the same time, I feel like I know better. Like, I don't want to date somebody that I am going to see every single day. Yeah. Especially if it's a job you plan to have for a long time, and it's like, it would either have to be one of two situations. One, we both know that this is something super casual and we're not going to get attached, and we're going to let it be super casual and run its course and not be weird after. Or, like, yes, this is what we want. We're in this for the long run, and, like, let's do this. It has to be kind of, I feel like, one of two extremes. And if it was somewhere in the middle, or, like, I just wasn't sure, I just don't know that I would want to risk it, especially if I was really invested in my job. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I never really thought about that you being invested in your job, and, like, how bad do you want the job?
Yeah, because, like, it's like, if you love this job and you want to build a career here, you don't want to do something that's going to screw it up, you know?
Right.
But
that's true.
If you also don't care that much about the job, then I say go for it, because you can always find another job.
That's true. I think, like, it depends. Like, I'm thinking, like, would I date someone in my office currently right now? And if a guy that I knew that I liked was there and he was making advances at me, and yeah, you know what? I think I would. But then, there's a lot of layers involved. Like you said, like, do I like the job? Would I see myself even eventually going and leaving my company?
I know people that have, met by working together, and it worked out really great for them, and, they still work together to this day. I also know people that met working together, got married, got divorced, still work together, and somehow that works too. You just have to be mature about it, I think it just depends on your level of commitment to the job.
I would say having an office relationship in these days, I feel like it's not a bad thing, but you do have to be very careful, as we mentioned, the Me Too movement.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to be very strategic about it, and be just careful in general. But I would say go for it,
Yeah.
I would say go for it. But again, you got to know your company policy, and you got to really be like sober about this. It can't just be something you willingly jump into.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that you really have to think about, because it's not, this is your livelihood that you're thinking about too.
And you got to worry about like other coworkers dealing with, you have to deal with all of that. But like you said, like we mentioned before, part of the way to navigate an office relationship is to really try to keep it under wraps. Like, you got to really commit to doing that.
But I think keeping it under wraps, but also not keeping it a secret, because like I said, that keeping it a secret is almost more detrimental to the relationship. But keeping something under wraps and leaving your personal life at home. But also, like, if your company's cool with you dating a coworker, it's fine to let people know, like, yeah, we're dating. But just, I would say just keep, space between each other at work.
Right. And so that people don't even new people coming in probably don't even think you're dating.
I didn't even think about this before, but a job that I recently left, I had that happen where I had my manager, her boyfriend worked for the company, in our, like, we had a small little office in a bigger office. So, like, our office was maybe, like, 8 people. In the larger office, that was just our room. And I had no idea that they were dating for, like, a year.
Wow.
They lived together, but they were so good at, like, I thought that they were just friends, and to be honest, I thought that he was just really into her, and she was just kind of like, we'll see. But they were actually dating, and they, were super close, and they lived together, I guess. But they were so good at keeping things professional at work that I never even suspected anything. I just thought they were, like, really good friends that carpooled sometimes.
Yeah, because that helps, because people are going to form their own perceptions of you, especially if, like, they know you're dating, and it's a difficult thing, because people they're looking for an excuse to, like, oh, that person like, doesn't like me. And
they were both also the nicest people in the office, so it was so, you wanted to love both of them, and then when I found out they were together, it was like I loved them together, so it's like, they're one office relationship I hope works out.
I mean, you can always work it out if you're careful. So,
well, that's it for this week. You can find us on Instagram at Dating Badly. You can find me on Instagram at Kristen_Strange.
And you can find me at It's Taylor Bell.
Tune in next week for an all-new episode, and we'll see you guys later.